For today's yoga practice, we'll be focusing on the sacral chakra. We'll begin by coming into Supta Baddha Konasana. You can place 2 blocks underneath the knees if you need some support here. Bringing the feet together, the knees come out to the side, and then just place your hand right over your lower abdomen. The sacral chakra is located in the lower portion of the belly, just anterior to the sacrum. Its major endocrine gland is the gonads, and it governs the reproductive system. This chakra is also associated with our emotions, our creativity, and our sexuality. So just take a moment here, connecting with your breath. Using a diaphragmatic breath as you inhale, filling the belly up, and as you exhale, allowing the belly to slowly drop down towards the earth. Letting gravity draw the knees down towards the earth as we start to create space in our sacral region, in our pelvis. If at any time this becomes too uncomfortable in the low back, you can always extend your legs out. Again, just being mindful of the body throughout your entire practice. Some of these shapes may not be very comfortable, but they should never be painful. Visualizing the color orange in that low abdominal region. Again, the color associated with that sacral chakra. Picturing it as a fluid, flowing space. And just checking in, observing how you are feeling today in this space, without any sort of judgment or dialogue around it, just acknowledging, noticing, and allowing yourself to be however you are. Slowly drawing your knees together. Bring your knees into your chest. You can rock side to side, just gently giving a little massage to the posterior aspect of your sacrum. We're going to come into a reclined figure 4. So keeping the left foot on the earth, you're going to cross the right ankle over the left knee, just above the knee joint. You can keep the left foot on the earth if you want. If you have a little bit more space to move, you might interlace your fingers behind the thigh of the left leg, drawing the right leg closer to the body. Gently encouraging the right knee to draw out and away. After making any fine-tune adjustments, just allowing yourself to surrender into the shape, finding ease. Let the shoulders draw heavy down towards the earth. Let your face be soft. And just send your breath into wherever you feel the sensations most. Perhaps it's in that outer aspect of your right hip. Breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the nose. Inhales and exhales for a count of 5 or 6. Maybe extending the exhales out to a count of 7 or 8 if you'd like. Again, we just use our breath, our pranayama, to tap into the autonomic nervous system, allowing ourselves to find a sense of ease as we breathe here. Allowing the subtle energy body to find that release. Noticing if the body clenches. Maybe it's in the shoulders or the jaw or some other place. And if you feel that tension arising, just using your awareness and your breath to create space, to soften, to let it go. Slowly coming out of the shape. Again, just moving mindfully. Holding these poses longer might create a little bit of sensation in the hips. And so we'll take it to the other side. Right foot is down on the earth. Left ankle crosses over the right knee. Again, you might keep your right foot on the earth in this shape, or you might draw the thigh in, interlacing the fingers behind the right thigh. This side may be different than the other side, and that's okay. Making your adjustments as you need, and then just finding the place where you can stay in the shape. Again, this is a passive pose, so we want to find as much ease as possible. Allowing the shoulders to draw heavy down towards the earth. Face is soft. And awareness is just on your breath. As we come into these still poses, sometimes it triggers some distractibility. Noticing if you're getting distracted, if the mind is wandering, and just bringing it back with the breath. Using your breath as a point of awareness throughout this practice to help cultivate a sense of meditation. As you come into these poses and connect with the breath, you might say to yourself, breathing in, I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am breathing out with each inhale and exhale. As we hold these poses, you might find that they gain in intensity, in which case you might back off the shape a little bit. Or if you find that you have space to move a little bit deeper, you might take an adjustment to deepen the shape, just allowing your body to tell you where it wants to go today. Slowly come on out, both feet placed on the earth, waving the knees side to side, getting some motion in the sacroiliac joint. And just drawing the knees in as we roll up and down the spine, getting either side of the spine. Coming onto all fours, opening the heart, lift the hips up to the sky as you come into downward dog. This is just a transitional downward dog, so really enjoy it as you root down with your fingers into the earth. Let your head hang, maybe shaking it out. We're going to come into sleeping swan on the right, so drawing the right shin to the top of the mat. You might place your right block underneath your right thigh if you need a little bit of assistance here. We want to find a place where we can be in the shape without having to activate any of our musculature. Extending the left leg back behind you. Again, you might curl your toes under, or you might lay the top of your foot on the mat. Right shin will perhaps one day become parallel with the top of the mat. But if it's not quite there yet, that's okay too. It's not important. You might use your block under your forehead for support, or place it under the sternum on your chest. You might bring the right heel in towards your hip a little bit more to find a little bit more ease. Being mindful that you don't take the pose too deep. If we take it too deep, the body becomes reactive and starts to clench up. We want to find that place where we create tension in the tissues, but we are able to find a deeper release by just allowing gravity in our breath to open the body up. I like to flip my palms up towards the sky in these shapes. It reminds me to not grasp for the pose, no forcing or pushing, but it also is a gesture of receiving, just allowing yourself to be here, receiving each of these shapes. Deepening the breath. Each exhale, just moving through the layers. Noticing any rigidity that shows up, any tension that shows up. And just through the light of our awareness, allowing it to dissolve. Slowly press up. As you press into the palms of the hands, heart lifts, hips drop back. Again, a nice, easy transitional downward dog. Hips rise. We'll take it to the left side, drawing the left shin up as close to parallel to the top of the mat as you can get it. Perhaps placing the block underneath the left thigh if you need to, or using the block however it makes sense for this shape. The beautiful thing about our yoga practices is we can modify it, right? Yoga meets us where we're at. We don't have to be any particular way. We can be just as we are. Making any adjustments that are necessary or needed. And then just surrendering into the shape. Breathing deeply. Our breath is a wonderful tool for telling us when we need to back off or perhaps even go deeper. When we come into these shapes, if the breath starts to become strained, that's an indication that we've perhaps gone too far and may need to back off a bit. And through our awareness of the breath, we're able to deepen the inhales and exhales, bringing the nourishing oxygen in the tissues that need it, and releasing anything we don't need with our exhales. If the pose becomes too intense, you can make adjustments or perhaps back out of it a little bit. Right? These poses are intended to honor the body. And the more we can allow the body to feel supported, the more readily it will be to relax and release. Slowly pressing up into the palms as you lift the chest. Getting that nice opening through the front side of the body and pressing the hips back as you come into downward dog. Heart draws down towards the earth, hips lift and lengthen, just feeling the lengthening through the spine, through the whole back side of the body. And now we'll come onto our seat. We're going to take Gomukhasana, cow face pose. By stacking the right knee on top of the left knee, we're going to bring our heels back towards our hips, flexing the toes so as to not strain the knee. You may also straighten out your left leg if this is just a little too much with both knees bent. Okay. If you're choosing to have both knees bent, then you want to make sure that the right knee is stacked on top of the left knee, aligned with the front of the body. Sit nice and tall, extending the heart forward, and then once you find that end range of motion in this shape, just bowing the head, allowing the spine to soften. You want to be really mindful that you're not feeling any strain in the knee joint. If this does hurt your knees, just back off a little bit again, maybe taking that variation with the bottom leg straightened out. This pose is a particularly challenging pose for me. It provides me with a great opportunity to just find ease when things feel a little bit tricky. Perhaps you can bring the forearms down onto the earth. Perhaps not, and it's not important. It's just about finding what works for you in this moment. Slowly come on out. If you're like me, this pose is really intense on the hips, so you can just extend the legs out. I like to move the feet side to side. And now we'll switch sides. This time the right leg is going to be on the bottom and the left will be on top. Perhaps extending the right leg out and stacking the left knee over, or perhaps bending both knees and stacking the left knee on top of the right knee. This side might be a little bit different, so play with the variations. See what works best on this side. Again, just fine-tuning the pose, taking your time. We spend enough time in these shapes that we're able to find those adjustments. We want to find a place where we can be for a while. Our connective tissues, our fascia, are different than our muscles in that they take a little bit longer to open up. We like to hold these poses for at least 90 seconds. In most cases, I'll hold them anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes to really get into the fascia, into the connective tissues to create that stimulation. But the key is to just be gentle and to just listen to the body so that each shape can serve its purpose without creating pain or injury. Noticing if any tension shows up in the shape or the body. Breathing into any of those places that feel restricted. Allowing whatever comes up to just come up and then let it pass like a cloud in the sky, whether it's a thought or a feeling, a sensation perhaps. Perhaps the body becomes warm. And then just slowly coming up. Again, extending the legs out from the body. You can wave the feet side to side, just bringing the hands back behind the hips. Coming into our final shape, we will come into a forward fold, rooting the hips down as you lift the heart, extending the spine, lengthen the heart towards the feet. Both hands come alongside the calves or thighs, wherever they're at, doesn't matter. Feet are loose, toes might fall to the side. You want to keep them generally upright, stacked over the heels, but if they fall to the side a little bit, that's okay. Again, this is a slightly different approach to these shapes than we might take in our other yoga classes or vinyasa practices or hatha. So we don't pull or push or force, we just come into the shape and allow our breath and gravity to deepen the pose. Giving ourselves this opportunity, our yin practice allows us a moment to just go inside, to turn off the going ons of the world for a moment, to go inside, to restore, to reconnect, to find that stillness that we so often don't have the opportunity to connect with in our day-to-day life. It's a reminder that that peace, that calm, that stillness is always within us, no matter where we go. No matter what we do. Slowly coming out of your shape, we'll lie down onto our backs, coming into our Shavasana. Extending the legs out from the body. Again, arms just come out, flipping the palms up towards the sky. If you want a supported Shavasana, you might also place a block underneath the sacrum, making sure that the sacrum is squarely placed on the block so as to not create any strain. But if this doesn't feel good, if this doesn't serve your relaxation, right, then you don't need to do it. You might bend your knees. That feels good. I enjoy this at the end of the day. But otherwise, you don't need to do it if it doesn't feel good. As we close our eyes and we come into our meditative space of Shavasana, repeat to yourself, I forgive the past and I embrace my life fully. I am open to receive all of the goodness that surrounds me. I am creative and courageous. I am capable. I listen to my inner truth. I honor myself and care for all of my needs. You can stay in Shavasana for as long as you would like. This is your time. If you are ready to come out, just gently extend the arms up overhead, rolling onto the right side body, acknowledging your efforts, acknowledging what a gift it is to be able-bodied and to have a body in this world. Slowly coming up to a seat, honoring the divine lights in each of you. Namaste.